Hey, Life Fixers. Hope you're having an awesome day. Are you ready to better understand yourself, your partner, and your marriage? I think you will on today's episode. Now, if you'd like to become more efficient and effective in your marriage, career, and everyday life, get yourself into your Brain Rewired waitlist at lifefixuniversity.com/your brain rewired to be the first to know when registration opens up again and to get a great discount. For today's guest, we've got an incredible guest, someone who's the author of Love Made Simple, first of all, but he's a transformational speaker, thought leader, and the founder of Clear Journey, a nonprofit that teaches the practical application of love. Thank you so much, Juan Lee, for being here. I'm excited to be speaking with you. You want to start by telling us something that you did as a kid that people still laugh about today.
Oh, boy. Let me give you a profile here.
Let's go.
My ears. I have big ears.
Oh, like me. We're matching.
They stick out.
Okay.
And that was, I mean, see, but you have hair, you can hide them.
Yeah, but also if I put my hair down, sometimes my hair gets stuck in my ears, start sticking out between, and then it's even worse.
See what I'm saying? Thank you. We have kindred here.
You know, I used to get made fun that they would hang me up like on cloth pins on the clothesline with my ears.
Yeah, I mean, boy, you just asked the question. Wow. That was an issue that I had growing up. And it was amazing. About 3 years ago, I had an issue with it. Now here I am 56. So I'm talking about I was 53 years old. And this guy did something to me, plucked my ear.
Are you serious?
At 56, I'm at work, I'm working, and he plucks my ears. And I tell him, I say, you know what? The last time I got in a fight was because somebody did that. And I left it at that.
What did he say? Did he at least apologize?
No. I mean, because now he's an alpha male, even though he's a short alpha male. He's a real short guy. But
maybe that's why today he's feeling that you're taking him over and he's not liking that.
But the fact of the matter is that a lot of who I am today is a lot different than who I was then.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a statement of fact. It would have been an action of fact in the past. So the point is that was very interesting. And I'm talking about, it had been, I'm talking 30, 40, at least 35 years since I had to even address that. But this guy felt the need to want to do that. And it really caused me to think, to really take an evaluation and go, oh, no, he didn't. And all I could say was, the last time I got in a fight was because somebody did that. And you can either evaluate that for yourself, okay? If you want, this time, I'm going to just let you know, the last time I got in a fight was because somebody did that.
And if
you think that you want to engage this again, try this again, you might want to think twice.
Mm-hmm. And it's a great reflection for yourself to see how much you've changed and how far you've come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that was, boy, and why would you go and pull that out?
I wasn't expecting that. Let's say that much, but it makes me really happy. I want to know what, since that time, has changed in yourself and more specifically in your marriage.
Oh, I guess to be honest with you, that's everything. Because coming to understand love is everything. It basically, if you want to even take it back to that incident, it was because of love that I actually was able to respond the way I did. Because what I did not want to do, and I think we deal with this a lot as it relates to people view love and kindness as a weakness. And I needed to, in that case, had to address kindness and weakness, or kindness as a strength, and how to present it. Okay. And it doesn't have to be physical. it can just be in words. It's how you respond to situations and circumstances. It was something that I realized that even in every day in my marriage, it's about how I respond more than what the situation is. And that's love. And so love gives me the ability to respond in accordance with the relationship that I'm in. And every relationship has value. If I'm in a relationship, it has to have value.
Yeah. So let's back up a second. What is your definition of love?
Oh boy. Love is, there's so many different parts to love. But let's use love as an attitude. It's an action word that is prompted by an attitude. It is so much more. I mean, I can go very, very deep in going into many different, because it has characteristics, it has attitudes, but it ultimately is an action that is beneficial for others. And I think that is the measuring tool for being able to understand love, is if when it can benefit someone else, then you're actualizing it. You're making it applicable so someone can see love. And that's a lot about my book, and the transition of what the book is all about is about the practical application of love. It's about being able to manifest something that is abstract into something that someone can see, can really begin to understand. That was the thing that was confusing me as a child, as a teenager, is that I couldn't see love.
Yes. That I think that coming from working with the brains and helping people rewire their brain, there is one of the cognitive functions, one part to being able to think is about being able to make something more concrete and turning it, like going higher and higher with it, so it's more abstract, right? Like if I hold you an apple, it's concrete. If I tell you the word apple, it's easy enough for you to imagine it, but it's more abstract than just holding an apple. And I think love falls quite high, if not like almost all the way at the top of abstract. And especially for people with this cognitive deficiency, or just everyone, to bring it down to our lives and to say, like, actually, this is a real thing. I could feel it. It's something that's there, even though I can't see it. And I don't know, but I know it's love. So how could a person start really actualizing it?
Well, the first part of that is being able to identify and recognize it in yourself. Okay.
Self-awareness.
Huh?
Self-awareness. Everyone knows how much I say everything starts with self-awareness. So.
Well, there is no way around this, because you can't see. Love is something that you can give, and you can't give what you don't have. And until you develop that which you can have to give, that's on the inside of you. You've got to know self. You've got to be able to develop self. You've got to accept self. And then you can be able to give self. Okay? But until you go through those processes and do those things, you're going to be trying to figure out something that is basically abstract at best, and having to being able to demonstrate it, because you have no recollection as to, like you just said, you have no idea what it looks like. So until you're able to recognize it for yourself, you can't give it.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Sorry. So how could you give it to yourself?
Well, it's called, there's 7 attitudes that I like to use as far as love. Love has 7 attitudes, and it starts with sacrifice, humility, courage, caring, discipline, responsibility, and tenacity. If you can gather those attitudes into your life one at a time, understand that you really need to know that you need help. And that's what that sacrifice. You've got to basically say, hey, I don't have it all together. And you've got to come to that awareness and say, I need help. and then be willing to say, okay, be humble enough to accept that help. See, it's one thing to say I need help, not willing to get it. And that's the attitude adjustment. We think that we are doing this thing in a vacuum and that life is just something that we're supposed to be trying to figure out. But love is a system for life success because it requires all of us together to be successful in this life experience. It's an experience and it's temporary, and it's just a very small portion or part of the big whole, because love is the system to protect and preserve humanity. And when we understand that we have what it takes to invest into humanity for it to continue, for it to exist into the future, into the generation to come, just as generations in the past has invested in us, we have that responsibility to invest into the future with what we have, our uniquenesses, our abilities to invest in one another so that collectively humanity can survive and also thrive into the future.
Yeah. So just going back, about love for oneself, if you have these 7 attitudes of love, then you're giving love to yourself.
Well, you have the attitudes that you can see who you are and those that you engage with, because it's from that perspective you're going to be interacting with others. It's from that perspective that you're going to be able to see value in those relationships that you aspire to have. If you can't see self, you can't see value in someone else, because everybody is unique. Yes. And when you know your uniqueness, you can understand and appreciate someone else's uniqueness and not be divisive in trying to separate or being pushing their abilities and attributes away, but embrace them, and collectively we can do a lot better together.
I'm in agreement with you on that one, 100%. So what you're saying is it's not really so much about specific actions, but you want to make sure you have these 7 attitudes, and then you'll know what sort of action to do and how to take it, how to actually show love to yourself and to others.
Absolutely. It's an attitude adjustment that we need to look at, because see, we have this mindset that we are basically in this thing by ourselves called life. We're in this thing trying to figure it out ourselves. Life is bigger than we are. And it's here. It was here before we got here. It's going to be here after we're gone. And the fact of the matter is the system is already in place. It's working. We've now got to just find our spot and where we fit in that system and connect. And we don't learn how to connect to one another. We learn how to be divisive. We learn how to be different and saying that everybody else is less than rather than a good portion of who we all are collectively. Humanity is bigger.
Why do you think society is set up in a way that it's like that?
Well, every society has its motivations, has its agendas. Okay. In America, we have an agenda called capitalism. Okay. Capitalism strives on being division, on dividing each other. I mean, in every aspect of it, it's about dividing how I can segment it off to my benefit.
Right. But I don't, not like to make this all political and stuff, more just to understand, right? If we go and say afterwards that communism, like, that's not any better either.
No, absolutely not. So my point is that it doesn't matter what system you're in, love prevails. Love prevails.
Yeah. No, so it's not so much, my question is not so much about like the world. Like, yes, we all know we're all really divided now, and everywhere you're going, everyone is, like you said, we like all think that we're better than everyone else. But is it something in like the way parents raise their kids in schools, not like trying to blame people, but for people to take responsibility and be able to go and change it, and at least in their own immediate.
One of those 7 attitudes, remember responsibility?
Mm-hmm.
The system is in place. We have to own the system.
Okay, so what's that system?
Well, let's talk about just being a parent. It's humanity that we're trying to protect and preserve. Our generation that we're trying to preserve is our children. So my point here is that we have to be what we want our children to become. So then if we're expecting them to be something that we're not, that's really an unrealistic expectation. We're the parent. We should be leading, showing, giving the direction as to how this can happen. But we have so many personal issues and hangups that our children see those hangups being played out in front of them every day. And so then they're left at the same thing that we were, trying to figure it out for themselves. Because we grow up saying, I ain't gonna treat mine like that. I ain't gonna do that like they did. And the fact of the matter is that just the way that they did it don't mean the way you're gonna do it is gonna be any better. Because you have no idea as to what it was that you're gonna have to do, because you're trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like we're continually perpetuating this cycle of being divisive, figuring it out for myself.
Right. So if, let's say, a parent is responsible and has like built this attitude, shifted this mindset of being responsible together with all the other ones, then they're going to understand that it's their responsibility to go and change it, to break the pattern and actually work with the system.
In my book, Love Made Simple, I break it down at the end of each chapter into things that you can take away at every stage in your life, whether you're at a teenager, young adult, an adult, or senior, because we all are at different stages in our lives. And love, with an attitude to preserve and protect humanity, at each level, it's a building block. As a teenager, there are things that you're going to navigate that you're not going to be navigating as a young adult, and vice versa. As a young adult, if you miss some of these things as a teenager, you've got to get them, because it's foundational for you to be a part of the whole package of humanity. It's being able to understand that as an adult, now you're going to be influencing and affecting other people's lives because of your experiences. As seniors, their primary responsibility and role is to be able to give that wisdom, those experiences, and allow the child to be able to navigate, or the young adult to navigate that, show them how to navigate this thing called life, giving them some practical application, but knowing that their experiences are going to be different. But there's some things that we can say, hey, be aware of, be conscious of. Don't let these things take you off guard, or take you by, take you by surprise. Just giving you some of that wisdom, but at the same time, learning the fact that your life as a senior is still important. You're still flowing and you have things to offer. And teenagers, young adults, hey, let's be able to understand as soon as we can that we need each other. I know we're being competitive. We want to do and be the best that we want to be. But at the same time, we're doing that to see how we connect to one another. It's not to be able to say that I'm bigger and badder. This is what I have to offer. And that's what love does. It's willing to give that which they've desired, that brings fulfillment when someone else has been able to appreciate it.
Yeah. So you're doing the same things, but coming from these attitudes of love. So it looks totally different and has a really, really different effect.
Absolutely.
So what specific tips could you give for our listeners who aren't really seniors to implement any of these 7 attitudes?
Well, again, I think the first things that a lot of young adults need to grasp is that one thing is that accepting that you need help. There is no greater awareness than to know and to understand that I'm not in this thing by myself. I'll give you a little bit of my background. I have a learning disability, and it was undiagnosed until I was 37 years old. I was frustrated. I was low self-esteem. I was totally, had no hope. And it wasn't until I accepted and had to break down the fact of my shame had to come down. And I had to be humble enough to say, hey, I need help. And see, the first thing is that I had to realize that I needed help, because underneath of this facade that I had put on, and that is that I can handle it, I can do it, is that I had some real talent, some abilities, some gifts that were genuine, but I needed help. And it's okay to want help or to need help. It's all right. There is nobody in existence that lives this life in a vacuum, alone, without getting any help. No business is a business by itself. It needs customers. It needs people that influence, that patronize it. We need each other. It is not an option, but we as a people have been taught that that's unacceptable. You've got to do it by yourself. And it's really the opposite. Once you find your gifts, it's about giving what you have, finding your identity, understanding what it is that you stand for, and then find those people that can add value to that. Find your place, your spot. Find those people that connect to you. Man, life becomes real simple then, becomes easy.
Yeah. And in order for you to give your gifts, that means you're giving to someone else, and that means you're helping someone else. So someone is on the receiving end and is getting the help, and is that maybe was too hard for them to take.
And that's the whole point. It's amazing because it's amazing. People will resist help because they don't know how to receive it.
Yeah. So if someone's listening to this and is saying, like, I know I resist help, I know I need help, and at the same time, it's really hard for me. It's so out of my comfort zone to go, and like, usually I'm taking care of everything. What could they do? Like, they know it, but it's too hard for them to like jump off and go and actually accept it.
Here's the thing. First of all, don't be ashamed to seek professional help. Okay. If you need help, until you identify who you are, you cannot help anyone. Okay. Your purpose and here, all of our purpose is to find that originality or that uniqueness and then give it. If you don't know it, can't give it. So by whatever means is necessary, understand you've got to find that place, that thing that makes you unique. It doesn't matter what it is. You've got to determine value for yourself. And it's at that point, things begin to change. You can't be somebody else. You can't be expected to be someone else. You've got to be able to be content and feel good about yourself. Once you get there, the doors of everything, life will open up. And in my case, I was in the military. They forced me to pull those walls down, those guards, so that I could find out who I really was and what I had to offer. You don't have a choice in there. But that's something that we all have to experience, because that's our authenticity. That's who we are. It's what makes us who we are.
Yeah. That's like real work that doesn't just happen overnight and takes a lot of strength and a lot of self-awareness. Yeah.
You already you went to my punchline.
Yeah.
Love allows us. It's the hardest thing we will ever do, but it's the most gratifying thing that we'll ever accomplish, it will ever experience. Because life just gets so easy when you do that work. Everything becomes clear. The name of my nonprofit is called Clear Journey. And all we're looking to do is to give young adults and teenagers a clear journey in life. Something that they can see. Huh?
How do you do that? Through what sort of things?
Well, we give them the attitudes and we give them, life skills so that they are prepared for the journey. And that's just, it's these things that we talk about. Like I told you, when I graduated from high school, I graduated from high school, I had no directions. It's like, okay, you do this, you do that. But it was an emptiness. And I was basically scared. I was afraid of life. I can imagine a person who didn't measure up, who felt that they didn't measure up, being expected to venture into this thing called life on your own with no instructions, no directions, no help or hope. And we all are in that.
Yeah.
There's no manual for this thing.
I think they need to create a new curriculum for school.
Hope, my book, Love Made Simple, gives a little bit of guidance to life, to anybody in this journey called life.
Okay, so anyone who hasn't yet discovered who they are, what their gifts are, and what they have to offer to this world, better make sure they go and get that book. Love Made Simple.
Look, the whole idea was to make it simple.
Yeah.
It's been too confusing and too much abstractness, but it's a guide for life.
Yes.
That's basically it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So where could life booksters buy those books and connect with you before we get to our final question?
Always on my website, WanLeeTheAuthor.com. You can get the ebook there, or you can actually even purchase online from Amazon on my website. But I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, and Facebook, even on Clubhouse. You can catch me on Clubhouse on occasion.
Awesome.
But also, if you email me at info@WanLeeTheAuthor, I have a newsletter. I can send you a newsletter out. And if you're interested in just wanting to talk to me, we can make an opportunity for you and I to speak and to see how love can help guide you in your journey.
Awesome. Okay, so all those links will be in the show notes. Okay, so for our final question, one that I ask everyone is, how would you describe an extraordinary relationship without using love, trust, or connection? I'm sorry, you can't use that word that you really want to use.
An extraordinary relationship without using those three words?
Yeah.
Peaceful.
Oh, it's like I see that afterwards. After all that work that you've done, that's it. You're just gonna have that peace.
Peaceful.
Yeah.
Because therein lies the word clarity. That's what the peace is about, clarity. And if you can have clarity, you're in a pretty good spot with peace.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Wow. Thank you so much, Juan. This was really, really interesting. And I know life fixers are going to really enjoy your book of Love Made Simple, because this was so great. So thank you so very much for being here. I really enjoyed chatting with you today.
Well, thank you for having me. The book I think it's meant for everybody, but it's specifically to the young adults and teenagers. I really want them to get a real grasp on being able to navigate this thing called life with the tools that are here in place. And it's within all of our ability, because again, one of the things I didn't share with you is that ultimately love is a choice. And we have the capacity and the capability to do it in any situation in our lives. We hold that power, and love is undefeated. Yeah. You can't make you do it, and no one can stop you from doing it.
And even when someone plucks your ears, you still got it there. Yeah. Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much.
That's all for this episode of the Life Fix University podcast, but I have a huge favor to ask of you that will not only support the show, but will also help the people you love most. We are striving for 1 million downloads by the end of 2025, and we can't do this without your help. If you love this episode, please share it with 2 of your family and friends so they too can rewire their brains to have an extraordinary marriage. It was awesome spending time with you, and I'll see you on the next episode.